Welcome everyone. My name is Ashley Sewa, and I'm one of the librarians on our user services team here at McGraw-Hill. I want to thank everyone for taking the time to join me today for this brief overview of the AccessScience site and all the great content that's available to you there. Just a few housekeeping things before we get started. Hopefully everyone can see my screen and hear me okay. If you do have any problems with the sound or the visual at any point during the presentation, please use the Q&A box, and there are some technical folks on the line who can help resolve whatever issue there is and get you back on the call. The call is being recorded, so everyone who registered will receive a link to the recording after the presentation. All of the lines have been muted, so if you do have any questions, please enter them into the Q&A box, and I have a colleague monitoring that to answer your questions. So please don't hesitate to ask whatever questions you have at any point throughout the presentation. The webinar today will have a special focus on the resources and features available to help facilitate distance learning in light of the current situation with COVID-19 and with many of our universities and schools transitioning to online instruction. We are happy to work with anyone who is interested in setting up an institutional trial during this time to gain access to the platform. And I have a slide here with the contact information of the sales reps for all the different U.S. regions, so you can contact us to get that access set up and working. And I have my contact information here as well. If you have any general questions or for any international folks on the call, I can help you find your specific rep for your region as well. If you have specific questions about access to the site or about distance learning, again, my colleague is happy to answer those questions in the Q&A box, and we can follow up with anyone as needed after the webinar as well. Let me bring the site back up here. And on the homepage here, we have a special section with our COVID-19 response. So I'll link over to that page. And on this page, there is a guide for using the site for distance learning. So you can see that here, and this also includes remote access instructions, which I'll go through in a minute. We've also opened up articles related to COVID-19, and you can see those here, as well as a selection of our core STEM articles on the site. So all of the articles linked on this page that I've opened up here are freely available to anyone, regardless of if you have a subscription. So you can come to this page and see all of these articles linked here. So again, if you're on the call today as someone who does not currently have an institutional subscription, or if you know of anyone, colleagues, high school students home from school, anyone who would benefit from being able to use these articles on this page, please do share that information. And again, that was linked on the homepage right here with this response to COVID-19 box. And then if your institution does have a subscription, I just want to point out our off-campus access option, which can be very useful to facilitate easy access to all of our content if students aren't on campus right now. So here in the site header, we have a link to off-campus access. And if I click on that, it opens up this page we see here that gives some information on the available roaming passport and how that access works. So the first step is that you need to be authenticated through your institution the first time that you log in to set up this remote access. A good way to make sure that you're authenticated is to go through your library's page, find their list of databases, and link to AccessScience from that list. This might prompt you to log in with your institutional credentials or connect to VPN, and then that will take you right into the AccessScience site. At the top of the site, in the header here, you'll see this access via text, and it should have your institution's name or logo appearing here, and then you'll know that you've been authenticated and the site is recognizing your affiliation. So again, once you're authenticated, once you see that message, come back to this off-campus access page, and then if you scroll down here, you can click Save Passport, and that will download a cookie on the device that you're using, and then you'll be able to use that device without going through that first authentication step for 6 months. And if I scroll back down here, you'll see this message there giving you the end date for the 6 months there. So then in 6 months on this date, you'll just have to repeat that first authentication process going through your library page, and then you can download that cookie again for another 6 months of OffCampus Access. Again, if you have any questions about this process or run into any issues with this, User Services is happy to help with that, so please reach out. So now that I've shown you that, let me go back to the homepage for a second and just give you a quick overview of what AccessScience is before I move into showing you all of the different content types on the site and pointing out some more of those distance learning features. So from the homepage, if I scroll down to the site footer here, there's an About section, which I'll bring up now just to help explain what the site is. So here you can see that AccessScience is an authoritative scientific reference resource, which is brought to you by McGraw-Hill. AccessScience was first launched as an online resource in 2000, and since then has evolved into the award-winning STEM resource that you see here today. If I scroll down a little further, you can see that there are over 8,700 articles available on the site, and the majority of these articles originate from the McGraw-Hill Encyclopedia of Science and Technology, which migrated to fully digital in 2012. AccessScience is more than just these encyclopedic articles, however. There are also briefings, biographies, videos, and all of the other content types listed here, and that I'll be showing you in the presentation today. If we go back again to the home page, you'll see that the articles are very prominently featured on the homepage with this list of browsable topics right here at the top. And then as we move down the page, the Editor's Picks section here highlights some featured content from some of those additional content types as well. This Editor's Picks section is updated very frequently, so that's a good way to dive into the content with something new and relevant. And you can see here that we do have briefings on the coronavirus being added frequently, so you can see that updated content right here. On the right, we have a list of a few articles that are popular this week, and then a little did you know question, which again are just some ways of grabbing the interest and attention of the users and getting them into some of the content on the site. So the AccessScience homepage is really a showcase of all of our different content that creates a lot of very easy ways to start diving into a topic of interest. Also on the homepage, before I move into the content, I just want to point out these two buttons here for creating a personal account, and again, the off-campus access, which I mentioned has a link here as well. For the free personal account, this is an optional feature, so you can view all of the content on the site just with your institution subscription. But creating this personal account will allow you to do a few extra things like save resources to easily access them again, as well as signing up for new content alerts, so you'll be notified via email when any new resources are added to the site. So I'll go ahead and click on that, and if I click register here, it will bring up the form that you need to fill out to sign up for a personal account. So here you'll enter your information, select what role you are, and then there are some site terms and conditions linked here that you'll need to accept. In the registration process, on the next screen after I fill this out and click register, there will be some options to select different areas of interest, and that will just tailor those new content alerts you receive, so you're only seeing that for content that's really relevant to you. So I'm just going to click sign in and log in here briefly so we can see what this looks like. And once I do that, you'll see the personal account page show up here. So on this first tab, I can see all of the items that I've saved, and I can filter those items out by content type. So if my list is getting a little bit long, I can narrow it down that way. I can also get a citation or email a link to each item. You can see those options here. And I can also get citations for multiple items if I use the checkboxes and then the cite button at the top here. The other tabs in my account let me see any saved searches that I have. So here I can see my saved searches. I can click this checkbox to turn on email alerts for if any new content is added that matches my search terms. And I can also run those searches again from here if I just click on the particular search term. And then the last tab in my account is my account information. So in this tab, I can change my password, I can edit my account details, or select different options for receiving those Access Science updates or new content alerts for topics of interest. So again, these are choices when you register, and then you can come in at any time to your account and change those as well. The content types that I mentioned all have their own tabs across the top of the screen here, so you can easily get into all of that content and start browsing through available items. And then the last two tabs at the top here are resources available specifically for faculty and for librarians. So I'll go into the For Faculty tab quickly, since there are some features in here that I just want to highlight again from a distance learning perspective. So at the top, we have a link to that distance learning document again. And then the main feature in this section is the curriculum maps, which were designed by college science instructors, and they serve as a resource for using Access Science in your teaching. So these are available for all of the topics that you see in the list here, as well as for next generation science standards. So for any high school teachers who are using these, they're available following that structure as well. I'll go into a map here. Let me pick microbiology. And you can see at the top here, we have information on the faculty member who created this map. And then the map itself has an outline of course topics. And each of those topics has a list of specific content that's available for that topic on Access Science. So here in this table, it tells you what type of content each resource is. So first here we have an animation and then a diagram, and then we have a detailed description that links over to that content, as well as a suggested use for how you might incorporate this resource into a lesson or learning activity. And as I'm moving through this list here, you can see the copy link button is popping up on the side here, and that lets you just very easily grab those links and add them to your learning management system or wherever you're sharing these resources with students. So again, these curriculum maps are available for the range of topics that you see here, and they can be really helpful for just quickly seeing what we have available, so you can use that as you're transitioning to online instruction. Also on this page, we have a little video with tips specifically for faculty using Access Science, and we also have a link to the Test Your Understanding questions that we'll see in articles on the site. So again, if you're looking for resources to create new assignments to get students engaged with assigned reading, here are those questions and answers available here. And that just opens up a spreadsheet where you can see all of that information. So let's go into the articles now so I can point out some different features here. I'll click on the Articles tab at the top of the screen here, which will open up an articles list organized A to Z here, and I can also browse articles by topic, so you can see the available topics in the drop-down menu here. In this list, you can really see the breadth of coverage represented on Access Science, where we cover all STEM topics from astronomy to zoology. These articles are all being constantly updated and new articles are being added, so there's always a lot of great up-to-date content available on the site. Let's click into a topic here, and I'll pick biology and biomedicine. And you see on the left here, we have an extensive list of subtopics available. And then in each subtopic, so I'll go into immunology here, and then we have a list of all of the articles associated with that particular subtopic. So there's a great depth of content here as well, diving into the subtopics and then the long list of articles for each subtopic. On the right side of my screen here, we have the personal account widget, which is just showing me my saved items and saved searches and allowing me to link over again to my account. And underneath that is a list of specific articles that are trending in this topic, which can be a quick way to get to an interesting topic or to see what's new in a particular area. And you can also, again, get to a different topic if you use the drop-down menu and select a different topic here. Let's go into an article now. So let me just pick the general immunology article here and click on that title to open up the article page. At the very top of the page, we see a breadcrumb of all of the topics associated with this article. So I got into it from immunology here, but you can see it's also available under cell biology as well. So this just highlights the multidisciplinary nature of a lot of the content available on Access Science. Under the article title, we have some metadata, including the contributor information. All of our articles are written by experts in their field, and you can see their affiliations listed here alongside the author's name. So you can see that credibility very easily. We even have 45 Access Science contributors who are Nobel Prize winners, which would be indicated by a Nobelist next to their name up here. You can also see in this section when this article was last reviewed, and then each article will have its own unique DOI for citing or directly linking to the articles. And there's also a link to previous versions of this article if you needed to refer to one of those older versions as well. As we start scrolling down into the article, you can see links to the different sections which will appear in the article at the top here. And then right at the top is a section for key concepts, which are a pedagogical feature that describe the major points students should be able to identify from reading through this article. We can also hide both of those boxes and just jump right into the content here. The first sentence in most articles will be bold like you see here, because this is actually just a definition of the article title. So the first sentence here is just telling us what immunology is. And then the article introduction is the rest of the paragraph, and then we get into some images and more detailed information as we go through the body of the article. For the images, they all have very detailed captions, as well as links to view and download the full-size image to reuse that in a paper or presentation. And if I jump down to the bottom of the article for a second, there's a link down here to download all of the images in this article as a zip file. And there's also a link to Access Science's image policy, so you can get more information on how those images can be reused and guidelines there. Let me go back up to where I was here, and as I'm scrolling through the article, you can see that there are links to related content at the end of most of the paragraphs here, so you can explore something mentioned in the article further and get additional background on some of the topics discussed. At the bottom of the article, we have that test your understanding self-assessment section that I mentioned, and this just asks readers to reflect on what they've read and gets into some higher level critical thinking questions as well. And again, the answers to those questions are available in the For Faculty section, which I pointed out earlier. At the very end of the article are links to primary literature and additional reading sections. This feature makes these articles really helpful as a starting place for students doing research by giving them some additional sources that they can use after they've gotten some background and hopefully a little better understanding of their topic from reading through the article. These primary references are also being updated as the articles are updated to keep them very current, so that we're representing some of the newer work being done on the topic, in addition to linking to seminal papers when available. For these links, libraries can set up an open URL link to display a full text symbol next to these DOIs so that users can access other content that the library has a subscription to right from this section. And the editors also do try to choose open access articles whenever possible so that as many users as possible can have access to these links and get the most benefit out of this section. And then the additional reading section lists relevant books and links to other external websites on this topic as well. So we found that article from the browsable list of topics, and another way to navigate the site to find articles and other content types is using the search bar at the top of the page here. A nice feature with the search is that as I start typing here, I can see the type ahead offering suggestions, and then if I ignore that and end up misspelling something here, you'll see that it gives me a did you mean suggestion and then has the correctly spelled term. When you do a search, the first result you'll see is a definition of your search term, because sometimes that's all you need. And then below that, I have a list of all of the available content for my search terms showing up in the results list here. From these results, you have some filters available on the left, so you can narrow down your results by a specific topic or a specific content type. So if you just wanted to see the latest news, you can select that filter and see those results appearing here. And next to each result in the list here, you can see I have the option to save specific items to my personal account. If I wanted to save those to read later or start creating a list of resources, I can easily do that here. And then I can see that the number of saved items in my personal account widget on the right here has gone up as I've added those items. At the top of the screen, I also have the option to save this search to my personal account. Again, if I want to run it again or turn on those email alerts, and when I click that again, you can see that my saved searches has gone up again here. There's also an advanced search option at the top of the page here, which allows you to search for a specific author or exclude terms or search for terms within a specific topic or content type, so applying those filters sort of upfront to your search. So if I want to learn more about viruses, but I want a whole article and not just the news, I can go ahead and run that search and then see my results here. So I'll open up another of these articles. Let's go to virus classification here, just to point out again a few additional features of articles. So on the right, we have that personal account widget that I've mentioned, and then below that in the sidebar, we have a list of related articles, as well as related media, projects, and biographies. All of this content in this sidebar is from AccessScience, so you're still within the database and not linking out to anything external from this section. This related content section will appear on all content types, not just articles, so we'll see this appear again when we get into some of those other content types as well. And with all of these links throughout the article and in this sidebar, we're just helping to create connections between all of the different content that's available on AccessScience and providing many different ways for students and users to dive deeper and get a really well-rounded education on a topic. There's also some tools available at the top of the article just to help users out here. So here you can share this article via direct link or via email or on social media with the share button. You can also print the article or again, save it to your personal account. The cite button here generates a citation for this article, and that is available in 4 different styles that you can just copy and paste here. And you can also export the RIS file and then use that in your citation management tool of choice. And all of these tools, including that citation, are available for all of the content types as well. So now that we've very thoroughly covered articles, I'm going to next show some of those additional content types that I've been mentioning. So first we'll go into briefings. And again, I'll use the tab at the top here to bring up the list of available briefings. And briefings are shorter, more topical articles on something that's been in the news or a recent discovery or event. These are written by AccessScience editors, so in addition to being shorter, they're also written in a slightly different style to be a little bit less scholarly and more engaging and concise. Like articles, you can also browse briefings by topic, so I can select that option. And this can be another really useful resource for students looking for a topic for a paper or project, or if you're a faculty member looking for something to share with students to introduce a new topic or start a discussion. So let's move off biology and let's say I'm writing a topic. Let's say I'm writing a paper on a zoology topic. I can select that and then scan through the list here and find something interesting. So I'll go ahead and click on one of these titles and open up that briefing. You'll see as I scroll through that these are definitely much shorter than articles, but they also still have images, links to related AccessScience articles throughout, and then the links to related primary literature and external websites at the bottom as well. And in this section is usually where the discovery was first reported. So again, this can be a really useful section to give some background and prepare students to make that jump into reading some of the more technical journal articles that are linked here. The related content section also appears on the right in this sidebar. And for all of these, there is an option to see more and expand this list to get some additional suggestions from this section. So you can see how you can easily start from a briefing, get a topic idea, and then easily get into some of the deeper content on the site and learn more about the underlying themes and concepts related to the briefing subject here. So that was briefings. Next, let's go into news stories. And this news section is composed of curated content from Science News Magazine, which is an independent source of accurate information. And here you can see that our options to browse through the news stories, I can browse either by year or again by topic. So let me pick something newer in the 2020 list here. And let's go into a physics topic this time. And you can see as I scroll through this that the news stories are also fairly short. And there's a link at the end here again to where this discovery was originally published, as well as some more information on that Science News publication. And again, there are links here at the bottom of the news story in this See Also section and in that right sidebar to connect you to related content in Access Science so that you can learn more. And then the next content type are our biographies. And while most of the content on Access Science is exclusive to the platform, a few content types like news, which I just showed, and also biographies are licensed. So we can view these by A to Z and also by topic. So I'll choose that option. And then let's go into computing this time. And there are actually two different kinds of biographies available on the site. So first we have the basic text biography, and I'll click into one of those. You can see at the end here, these are licensed from the Hutchinson Dictionary of Scientific Biography. And then if I go back to the list, the other option here is a video biography. So all of these names in the list that have a play icon next to them are actually video biographies. So let me go ahead and click on one of those. And the video biographies are licensed from the Franklin Institute, and they're of award-winning scientists and engineers, and you can see that indicated here under the scientist's name. The video biographies are all under 6 minutes, and they cover not only the scientist's background and their major works, but also how they got interested in science and the path that they took to get to where they are. So those videos can be really useful to see that perspective from a host of different scientists, or again, to introduce a new topic or spark discussion in a lesson. And there's also some biographical text information below the video as well. And in addition to these video biographies, Access Science also has over 300 videos and animations, which are available under the Media tab. So again, for distance learning, these can be a great way to provide students with an engaging way to help illustrate various scientific concepts that they're learning about. We have a great series on the chemistry of everyday life, so let me go into chemistry so we can see some of those titles. And we also have a great series in biology on brain science. So let me pick one of these topics from the list here. Let's pick how to make magnetic slime. And again, just to show you what these videos look like. So you can see that these videos are also fairly short and they have closed captioning available, and also a lot of those same features that we've been seeing in all of the different content types, like the See Also links to related articles under the video here, and then this sidebar with related content as well. And we also, again, still have those tools to save, share, and cite this particular video. So these videos can be a fun way to introduce a topic for students to learn more about a topic or explore something that they're curious about. And then once you've watched this video, there are many options here on this page to explore other videos on related topics or read articles and learn more about the underlying concepts being discussed here. So the last content type I'll point out here is projects. And as I scroll through this list, you can see that these are mostly makerspace type projects, and most of them are derived from the McGraw-Hill Tab series, if you're familiar with those. The projects have a skill level rating here, and that is explained in the right sidebar what those different levels mean. And then I'll go ahead and open up one of these projects. And here at the top, you can see source information on where this project was adapted from and who created this project. And then we have the project itself. So we have a brief introduction to what we'll be doing in this project. Then we have a list of supplies that we'll need, as well as potential sources of where to get specific items, and then the tools that you'll need, as well as any safety notes about using those tools like we see here. And then we get into the main part, which is an illustrated, step-by-step, very detailed guide showing you how exactly to assemble the various components of this particular project. So these projects can be very useful if you're doing these types of activities, if you have a makerspace area or makerspace resources, or again, if students are looking for a project idea for a more hands-on type of project. And all of these projects also have that related content sidebar on the right here that I've been pointing out, and some of the articles and other content that you'll see will also have a section for related projects if there is a project that applies to a concept in that particular content. Again, just creating links between all of the different stuff that's available on Access Science to aid in exploring a topic. Last in my demo today, I'll briefly show the For Admin section, which has information for librarians to help you get the most out of Access Science. So again, here at the top, we have links to that distance learning document and the open articles that I mentioned at the beginning. There's also information about accessing account information and usage statistics, followed by some promotional materials to promote the site to your users, and that includes our Access Science search widget, which you can add to LibGuides or other library pages using the embed codes which are available here. There are some user guides available, as well as an Access Science LibGuide, which you can use informationally, or if you have LibGuides at your library, you can copy and reuse anything on that guide in your own guides. There are also some video tutorials, a general one, just a quick refresher on using the site, and some tips specifically for students and for faculty on how they might best use the site for their particular situation. There's also information on upcoming webinars like the one you're in today, or you can always request custom training for a specific time or audience, or to see resources for a specific topic. Down here, there's also a really useful FAQ page that walks you through some common questions and issues, and a link to that is available in the site footer as well, so you can get to that help from anywhere on the site. Also down here in the site footer, we have a link to our new and noteworthy list. So if you want to see what's been added to the site recently, you can do so from here. Or again, if you register for that free personal account that I showed earlier and then sign up for those emails, you can get notified of content that way as well. If I go back, in the footer, there's also a link to contact us, so you can use that for technical issues. If you have general comments or feedback on the site, our editors do love to hear that. And if you want to get in touch with user services, which again, I'm a part of, to ask a question about using the site, for help promoting the site to your users, for that custom training that I mentioned, our email is here under the training section. So again, please feel free to reach out. That is all for my demonstration today. So if anyone has any questions about anything that I've shown, please go ahead and type those into the Q&A box now, and we'll respond to those as they come in. And while we're waiting on questions, I just want to mention that at the end of the webinar, a survey will appear, so please take the time to complete that survey, which will help us at McGraw-Hill know what to improve or what's working well with these webinars. And again, I'll put up the contact information for the sales reps and for me and user services. So if you have questions after the webinar, again, you know who to reach out to for questions or for setting up that institutional trial that I mentioned. And I just want to wrap up by thanking everyone for attending the webinar today. I hope you enjoy exploring Access Science. And again, please don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions or requests. Thank you and have a great day.